12 hours without electronics. So if you want to watch it again or you join in the midway of the video, you can go to ssia.org.sg/jobs to visit the Electronics Day website or to go to our IG account, SSIA Semiconductor, to view the video, to watch the video once more time. So I'm very happy to see some of our friends, actually many of our friends here again, as I know some of you have also attended our Electronics Industry Day virtual launch on 27th of January. For those who didn't turn up on that day, you can visit the ceremony from the Electronics Day website as well. So today we are very excited to have another 3 electronics and semiconductor companies, namely AMS, Realtek, and Zionix, to present to us the career opportunities in their companies and how our students and job seekers should prepare themselves for these opportunities. So let me go through some house rules before we start the agenda. So all attendees, you are muted upon entering this section and during the presentation. So you can type your questions in the chat box during the presentation. And you may also use the raise hand button. Wait for me to unmute you and ask your question during the Q&A section. So here's our agenda today. We will have AMS Sensors Singapore Private Limited to present us their job opportunities first, and will be followed by Realtek Singapore Private Limited, and then we will have Zionix, last but not least, to present us to their company opportunities. So without further ado, may we now invite Mr. Howard Tang, Principal Engineer, Operational Excellence from AMS, to give us the presentation. Howard, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, sure. So let me share my slide. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I would like to share a little bit today on AMS. So basically, I will go through a series of slides sharing where the company is doing, and also what are the opportunities and how is life as engineer in general, and especially in AMS. So I'm a principal engineer actually in operational excellence. I have been in this industry semicon for about 15 years as an industrial engineer. And basically, I work with a lot of projects and solution for both front end and back end semiconductor. So at AMS, Infineon, Statue Pack, Global Foundry. And this career journey actually bring me to have a lot of working relationship with a lot of factories beyond Singapore, like from those factories in Germany, Hungary, Malaysia, China, Indonesia, and Tijuana. So all these places I have worked with them before. So by training, I'm actually trained in the mechanical and production engineering in NTU. And I actually further my study later on in Masters NUS Industrial and System Engineering. So that's my nutshell. Who am I as an engineer and what is my background? So for AMS, today I'm going to share with you what the company is all about. I think the clip where before the presentation start shows very clearly what life will be quite different if without technology. So today I'm here to share what AMS technology is about, and also hopefully you can also understood that actually the life we have is actually enabled through a lot of the technology in semicon. So AMS at a glance. So we have over 1,000 engineers serving 8,000 customers. We got 9,000 employees, and we are racking in about 2 billion revenue in 2019. And the growth is very tremendous, about 32%. We have 18 design centers. We have over 35 years of design and manufacturing experience, over 3,000 patents, and revenue-wise, Q2 2020 is about 460 million USD. So this is a glance what AMS is about. So you can see that we actually need a lot of engineers, and besides engineer, there's actually other colleagues that work with us side by side together to enable technology into our daily lives. So what is AMS vision actually? So our vision is actually to create an uncontested leader in optical solution. So today, if you look at your handphone, I know a lot of times it's actually unlocked without you even having your fingerprint authenticated because it recognizes your face. It's also a lot of the illumination, like smart lighting. So sometimes you go to an environment where the lights open up on for you without you touching an on button. And of course, visualization. How can we actually look at things differently? So your smart screen, etc. So in a global footprint wise, we have footprint at various locations. So in US, you can see we have some design centers and also some sales office. And in Europe, we have design centers, sales support, and some manufacturing site, even in Europe. And of course, in Asia, Singapore is one of the biggest manufacturing site. And so these are the footprint where AMS is. So a manufacturing location, actually, you can see actually is in Austria and Singapore. So industrial wise, I think manufacturing is not only about brute force of doing it cheaply. A lot of time it is also about technology, whether you have skilled labor and skilled engineers to enable the technology fast, especially in the climate where technology is changing, very rapidly. So this is where we actually very fortunate to have a lot of good engineers working with us. And we also hope that we can engage you guys and the new blood to come in to join us in this exciting journey. So our technology-wise, again, we're actually looking at optical imaging and audio technology, where we are actually doing the industrial leading 3D technology. A lot of photos now you take sometimes it's even 3D. Yeah, you can recognize and you have a lot of fun with it. But all these are enabled through technology. So enabling this technology is actually all the hardworking engineer like you and me that is actually make all this fantasy or imagination a reality. Now, for our application, besides the communication, yeah, where now with this COVID situation, a lot of us are doing virtual. Unfortunately, we cannot be in the physical environment together due to social distancing. But this also gives us an opportunity to realize that actually communication with this video call, and also with this kind of Zoom meeting, we need actually better technology to serve us. And this infrastructure, have it not been ready, can you imagine the world, how will be like? We'll be waiting for emails and maybe, writing snail mail, yeah? So all these communication things that we enable, and even this visual where we can actually talk to one another virtually, give us give us at least some semblance of connection with one another, and also give us a possibility of understanding what one another mean through beyond words, yeah, also through facial expression and also hidden cues. And of course, we are also looking at the new technologies that's emerging, automotive. You heard about a smart car that can drive itself. You call a cab, and then next time you don't see a driver anymore. It's driverless. Yeah. So those are technology that need to be enabled, and there's a keen interest in the industry. And of course, we are also in the forefront and driving this part of the technology. And industrialization, IoT, Industrial 4.0, or smart factory, these are also the mega trends. These are the buzzword for the last few years. And a lot of companies are actually engaging on this journey. We talk about the industrial revolution, yeah? And this is actually where the exciting things are happening. The IoTs, the ideas and the new technology like the AI, machine learning, all these are coming into play. But without technology, without physical chips, without this semiconductor enabling, all this will not be possible as well. So we are also very glad that we are able to join in this part of the journey as forefront runners to energy enable it, and hopefully, yeah, we will be also be able to enable this technology with you. And in the medical arena, we also have chips that can actually do X-rays. So these are actually exciting times for us, lah. So I'll go to the next slide. So 3D modeling, sometimes you see metrics, you see a lot of interesting things where you can actually scan your face and scan your hand, and actually you can actually reproduce the D in the 3D rapid prototyping. So besides the industry where it's very hardcore, you can actually use it for movie industry or any other potential forensic, for example. So these are very exciting technology. We are also enhancing this and enabling this visualization, the way you look at data, the way you look at different components of things. So these are things that our company is actually looking at and very interested in. Of course, gesturing. So, for example, in the Matrix or even the Marvel movie, you see Tony Stark is moving the screen all over the place. So these are gesturing. So gesturing is also you need to have the interaction with the environment. So through light and sensors, you can actually do that. 3D authentication, I think I mentioned earlier, is like a handphone unlocking by recognizing your face. And how do the handphone know it's not a photo of you, but it's you person. Yeah. So world-facing AR, there's also where you can actually do interaction with, for example, you want to do a training, and you cannot be bringing the trainee to certain environment because maybe it's very hazardous and the trainees are actually not ready yet. So you can actually create a virtual world for that. And then for them, they interact the world with the world that is supposed to operate in safely. And once they are trained, of course, then they can be progressed on into the another training. And of course, the gaming VR, I think a lot of you at one time also have probably played the Pokemon, yeah, and there's actually a virtual world, and a lot of times that you actually can actually interact with the virtual world. So this is where the gaming is also heading to. So this is where our company is looking at as well. So for the new technology that is on the automotive, so LiDAR for autonomous driving, where your car can actually sense the environment, whether there's any danger, and with the 5G and interaction, then how fast is your reaction need to be? Yeah, if someone dash across the road, and your all your things have to react and stop in time. Yeah, so there's no one to stop the car. So of course, all this technology will need great thinking behind it and solution behind it. So this is where the exciting field we are in. And driver monitoring. So for those who love to drive, and sometimes a long road, you may fall asleep because it's tiring. And then, so some of the driver monitoring is where actually they give you a sensor to wake you up when you fall asleep, so that at least keep you safe, coming to home safely to your family. Electrification, besides the oil and gas being environmentally maybe not so friendly, and there's a lot of a push to go to electrical cars. So in those kind of technology, our company is also working very hard on this electrification, and also hopefully be part of the technology that enable this. And of course, advanced lighting to actually, give you a sense of all the different illumination. So we have various solution for all this. Of course, the sensing landscape, this is where we actually talk about security. So for example, if you access into office or even to schools, how we know who is going where. So these are where you actually can apply this technology to know without putting your hands or fingers, because now, sometimes you try to avoid contact. So 3D access is also another way to actually possible authenticate and open the door so that you are the rightful employee. X-ray for industry, where you go through custom, how you ensure that the safety of the passengers, and machine vision for industrial automation. So people talk about lights out factory where it's labor light, and in labor tight situation like Singapore, of course, if we talk about being in the industrial 4.0 or even smart factory, or even go to the new era of manufacturing. So there will be new ways of doing production, and with that itself, you won't have so many people looking at what is happening. You will actually have sensors, you have visuals control where you actually can do it remotely to tell the machines where to send certain lots, where to pick up certain lots, where is the problem, how to diagnose by looking at different charts without even physically being there. So these are all the technology trends that in the industrial. And for us, we are also fortunate to be in this forefront to actually enable all this technology. So So in the building automation, today, sometimes we are busy working. We like to have something to help us in our day-to-day life. So household robotics, where you can actually vacuum your house on its own. So, at least you have less housework to do. Appliance enhancement and automation. So you can start the washing machine and have it dry. And by the time you reach, or even oven, heat it up so that, you can actually put certain items there to have a cooked food, yeah, when you are back home late. So these are technology. And also 3D secure payment. So where actually can do authentication who you are, and actually give the authentication and pay the merchant accordingly. So these are the building automation. So now I come to something more relevant and more real to all of us lah. A lot of people are say, why is the life of an engineer? Yeah, whether is it true or false. So the first thing is we like to fix everything. Of course, engineer being engineer, we are trained to look at things and improve on things. That's the nature of engineer. Uh, we are not satisfied it being good. We want it to be better and even best. Yeah. So that is the nature of engineers. And this life for engineer, you can always improve. There's also what the concept of Kaizen, where you actually continue to improve certain things. I think that is part of very true in the engineer life. I see all of my colleagues are very hands-on. They are also very like to fix situation to get it under control. So the first statement is always true. The second statement, they are not creative. I think the creativity is different, is applied differently. We may not draw very fanciful pictures with a lot of colors, but we have creative solutions solving various problems. So certain problems cannot be solved in certain way, but we have some creative solution looking at certain patterns and looking at certain trends and even adopting certain things to solve a certain problem. And I think that is not true for the statement of not being creative. Now, the third thing, engineering is boring, engineer is boring. So that is not true also. Our work, actually, if you look at it, every work will have its excitement part. There will be also times where it's actually a bit more control. So engineers are typically a bit more control freak. We like things to be a bit organized. When things are not organized or not working fine, we would like to solve it. So of course, when an engineer have everything under control, life can be boring because there's no surprises, there's no firefighting. But by and large, because of the technology is leapfrogging very quickly, and there will always be things that we are learning. There are things that we do not know. So work will never be boring, I would say. And being engineers, the first statement we like to fix everything. Yeah. So where you see something is not right, everyone is all hands in. Definitely is actually a very nice experience to able to solve some tough problems together. Engineers need to be strong with math. In general, math is actually what we are good at in a lot of requirement in engineering course. But there are also, I would say, there's also a few branch of engineering that maybe do not make use so much of mathematics. They may be using project management skill. They may be using designing skills that are more a system based, programming skills that may be more on the IT side or the coding, or even some analysis or fixing. So not everything you have to use math. Math is useful, but not everything is whole by math alone. There will be also human interaction where you actually need to, at higher level, you will need to reach some compromises between the various departments, know how to solve certain problems using the soft part of the skill. So math is great, but it's not the one and only thing we use. Yeah. Uh, the point about is it a predominantly male field? It's not true. You have to also look at the demography of the different company and different department. So there are certain departments that are more male or less male, but as far as I'm in this industry for so long, I would see there's a fairly balance between male and female in this engineering field. Certain departments maybe because they are doing maybe more heavy lifting or maybe doing repairs. Yeah, maybe there will be a bit more male, but there are also a lot of successful female engineers that is actually in various fields like process, like quality, like planning groups. So it is not semiconductor; it's all guys. You'll be surprised if you go to any factory, the ratio may not be like 90% male. Yeah, it may be even 30 or 40% depending on the mix. If you consider the whole industry, including the operators, yeah, is maybe it is not so predominantly male. So engineers are confined to one job and one location. It's not true. My journey as an engineer have brought me all over the world. The factories you've seen I listed are all the factories I visited. Not only at a principal level, I have engineer level colleagues that actually have been to various factories and various locations for exchange or even for solving out certain problems. So this is not true. And for career-wise, engineers, when you're trained in certain area, you can also always request to move around so that you get wider exposure and also able to enrich your experience to actually uh, better look at a problem more holistically. So the last statement is definitely not true. Okay, so I hope that I have some buffing here that you have now seen that engineer is not so boring. Yeah. So for cultural wise, just share a little bit on AMS culture. So for us, we have a few things that we strongly believe in. Development of talent. So a job need to be great when it's interesting. There's opportunity for growth, advancement, and also being impactful and having a meaning in our job. So if you do something without a purpose and meaning, and a lot of times you will not find any satisfaction. So when we say develop talent, we try to make every colleague understand that they are actually doing something important for the company and also doing something important for the rest of the world. Yeah. Attracting talent. So through this forum, we also hope that we can get a lot of great talents coming in to join our ranks to also help our business and also help the contributing society. So this is the part where our AMS, HR, and the whole company strongly believe it. For ready workforce, we believe the great leaders will actually give inspirational support and also give some empowerment. So not everything will be instructed to you. There'll be a little bit of things that you will learn along the way. And this is about also trust, where your senior will guide you, your managers will also guide you. And as you gain experience and gain confidence, you are also empowered to actually make some judgment and also help to groom the next generation of engineers. So we are also trying to focus on how to develop the next group of engineers to take over the manageable post or even the more senior position. So that's where we say how we prepare for our ready workforce. Engage people, we strongly believe all work, no play also quite boring. So we actually have a great place to work concept as well. So I will share a little bit on the fun and engagement activities we have in our company. And the last one, we also believe that communication is very important. So we try to get connected with one another so that all information disseminate, especially in this period, uh, everyone get the information they need to know. So there's no anxiety. Yeah, so this is a culture in AMS. So I'm going to share a little bit more on the live and AMS. So this is a snippet of what happens, and this is a product engineer, yeah, Cassandra. So is a girl, obviously. This is a testimonial. So she's actually involved in a few projects in the consumer product, and you can see that she also worked with Singapore, Zurich, Austria. So basically, it's a global setting. Now, no longer we can say we stay at one place. The world is really now very well connected. We work with colleagues of all over the place. Yeah. And so these are the different interest groups we have: the Eco Garden, the Nature Walk, Willing Hearts, running. Yeah, there are a lot of guys that like to run, cycling, yoga, and of course, pets, pet care. People like pets, and of course, zero waste. So we do our bit for the environment as well. So you may have different interests, and if you want to start something, you can always talk to our HR. They will always be open to see any opportunity to actually get the people engaged together. Now, we also have internships. So I myself also have 1 or 2 interns under me to actually work with us. Some of these interns also able to join us and understand that actually what we are doing is also meaningful, and what their experience so far has been very, very positive. So I'm encourage some of the students, if you are interested to have an internship, do check us out, and hopefully, we can also guide you in your career and let you understand a little bit on what is engineering about through internships. And this is probably the last few slides I'm going to share. So if let's say you are interested and want to know what are the opportunities available at AMS, so you can actually apply and submit your resume to our career page. And of course, we always need engineer that is either in process, quality, Q, equipment, normal functions like it's not engineering, even HR, finance. All these are departments that is also in a semicon. So semicon is beyond engineers lah. And for internship, you can also apply us through this Yichen. You can email to her if you are interested in any of these positions. So what we listed here is some of the opening now. Of course, there may be more openings as the time go by. Just keep the address there and check us out. Yeah, if you have any interesting things you want to explore with us, talk to our friendly HR lah. Okay, so with that, this is my last slide. Thank you for your time, and I'm ready to take any question. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Thank
Yes.
you. Your presentation definitely helped us look at the working life in AMS from different perspectives. So if any one of you have any questions for Howard, please type your question in the chat box. So maybe let me start with the first question. So Howard, what qualities is AMS looking for from the candidates?
So for AMS, we are actually looking for people that are very motivated and also very committed to a cause, because for us, we are very passionate about our work. So of course, we also hope that we have good candidates can come with great ideas lah. So if you have great ideas, you're passionate about doing a job and doing it well, you can always apply lah. So that is the most important thing lah. Yeah, being passionate about what you are going to embark on.
Thank you. So here comes a question from Kumar. How metallurgical and materials engineers can enter into AMS?
Okay, I'm not speaking to any particular position, but basically material science and a lot of these material topic, material engineering are also important because there's a lot of interaction with material, whether it's a new material or some existing material that's known. So these are various opportunity because process engineer probably need to know some interaction with all the material. But again, you have to look at what is your interest. Yeah, you not find a material engineering position just listed like that, but how you actually apply your knowledge.
Okay, I see. So seems we have a shy group of participants today.
So, yeah, sure.
So may I ask another question, like how's the career progression in AMS?
So career progression in general, basically we have a technical path. So I'm actually on the technical path. So you come in as an engineer, you rise through the ranks through staff engineer, senior staff, principal, fellow. So there is almost an equivalent to the management path. The management path, upon staff, a senior staff and engineer, you can actually choose to become a people manager. So you actually manage a team, and of course, you work together with the engineers very closely to achieve an objective. So a lot of times, the progression, how does it happen? Uh, if you are going through the technical path, of course, you have to do some papers, and of course, you have to do some technical advancement or technology enhancement that the company or the department do not have. That's where you prove your technical know-how and being recognized as a technical leader. So that's the path of the technical journey. For the management path, it's actually about people management. So you can imagine a few thousand people coming together. There will be people that need to have some leadership to get the resources, the people organized. So that is the management path. So that's why as an engineer, a lot of the management I have come across, they come from engineer, yeah. And being engineer doesn't mean that they don't have a skill, the soft skill of people management. So this is the part where you have to empathize. I think our company talks about that, but we also hold people accountable as well. So this balance is something that the engineer or management have to also learn. And this is the part I also hope the young engineers understand that, engineer doesn't, you're not a robot. Yeah. So we are not robots. Engineers are not robots. So you have to learn to develop the other part of your skill as well, which is a soft skill. Yeah.
Understand. So here comes two questions. One is from Leon from NUS, a very practical question. How is the hiring process like for AMS? Are there several rounds? And then another question from Jeremy. Coming from a physics major, what is the general consensus on physicists with interest in semiconductor technologies, particularly one with interest in research and PhD?
Okay, so maybe I answer the first question first, which is
Sure.
the first question. How's the interview process like? So usually when you send in a resume, the HR will do the filtering in typical, and they will ask you some question to clarify a little bit more. Then you apply, and after clarification, the HR will do the first filtering, typically. And then after that, the hiring manager, if looking through those shortlisted candidate, and they will definitely call you up and have an interview. Now, because of COVID, maybe there are some virtual, if possible, face to face. But these are arrangement between the candidate and also between the hiring manager. So whether it's one round, two rounds, depending on the the candidate itself as well. Yeah, because sometimes the candidate in the first round may not perform so well, but the hiring manager feels that this candidate maybe have not prepared enough, and you give him another chance or her another chance, so you may ask for a second round just for another sideway opinion. So two rounds, I guess, is norm if the hiring manager is very interested in you. Yeah. So the other question on physics, I personally know even MD that was in the science stream. Yeah. So he all the way make him to a factory manager. So through engineer path as well. Yeah. He was actually doing a process and all the way rise up the rank to a factory manager. So whether you can do research as well, of course you can do research, but also depending whether there's R&D position that is available, and whether your research is also in line with what the company is looking at. You may be very interested in certain part of your research, but if the company do not find any commercial value in it, I mean, that's the part where your expectation of research area must also have something that can translate to something the company can market. So in generally, you have to see your area of research lah. And you can always apply because there will be some openings for R&D and technology because we are exploring as well. So if the hiring manager feels that there's a strong match, definitely they will call you up. Yeah, so that's all I can say lah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think we take in the last question is from Rohit from NUS. Do you have any tips for someone without any working experience in the industry and they want to apply to AMS?
Okay, so just sharing for those that are new or have not any working experience, you should always be positive in terms of coming to industry. Everyone start from somewhere lah. So if everyone have no experience, then we'll never get any new guys. Yeah. So as long you are positive, resume wise, you can always polish up a little bit. People sometimes is not only interested on the hard part. Like some of the students we have advised before. Um, Polishing up your resume, don't just list down everything you study, because if you look at your whole cohort, everyone is going through the same subjects. Yeah. So what's your interest area? What makes you tick? What makes you special? And what is the one thing that makes you stand out? Yeah. And whether you really are committed to believing that you actually like the job in semicon. So this is the part where the employer can see through the resume and through the interview as well. So be committed and also be positive. I think the energy level is very important in an interview. Just giving a resume with very nice written up, when you interview, you cannot convey the energy level. Sometimes it's a bit hard because there's no prior experience. But through small little things like your CCA in the past or some other activities you have lead, people will have a little bit of insight into what kind of person you are. Again, we are not hiring robots, we are hiring people. Yeah. So people, there will be passion, people, there will be some differences between you and me, but we are looking for great people. So as long as you position yourself to be positive, I think it'll give you some plus point. But that does not guarantee you can come in, but or join, but it will give you some positivity that you have a higher chance. Yeah, that's what I can give you as advice.
Thank you, Howard. That's very useful. Okay. So thank you, Howard, for your time for the presentation and the Q&A section.
No
now
problem.
Let us go to another company, Realtek. This section, we will have two representatives from Realtek. They are Chen Yan, HR executive, and Liu Ziying, Ted. He is a staff software engineer. So over to you both.
Hello, everyone. Well, I just share my slides first.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to Realtek Singapore. So I'm Cheng Yan, HR executive of Realtek Singapore, and I joined Realtek for about 2 years already. And I graduated from NTU and business school, so I'm in HR. Yeah. Okay, so if you do not know, our logo is actually the crab. So the spirit of the crab, it shows because it has a big shell, it shows that it's fiercely meeting all challenges, no matter how big they are. So one of the key points about a crab, right, is actually teamwork, because they always move in a pack and not alone. And they also have fast adaptability. So they are always fast adjustment to the changing environment. And also they are fast moving, which means they have agility. And also they have leadership, which means that they move sideways fearlessly. Okay, next is our culture. So in English, it's actually self-confidence and trust in people. In Chinese, it's because we are a Taiwanese company, so we read from right to left, right? It's 创新新人. Okay, so we believe that we can achieve our best and trust that our partners can do the same. The meaning why we are self-confidence and trust in people, right, is because we have trust in our own members and that everyone can work together and have teamwork. And we also don't do like micromanagement. So we really value our self-confidence that we trust in the people, that they can do their work the best that they can. Yeah. Okay, this is actually our first building, which is our headquarters in Hsinchu Science Park. And this is our second building. And moving on, we are also going to build our third building. Okay, this is our corporate profile. So we are started in 1987. And about 10 years after, we have our initial public offering. Okay, so the capital has been about 169 million and revenue is close to 2 billion in 2019. And our headquarters is in Hsinchu, which is in between Taichung and Taipei. So subsidiaries we have across the world, in US, in Asia, and and we are expanding in Southeast Asia. So employees worldwide is about 5.4K plus, and our main products are communications network, computer peripheral, and multimedia ICs. Okay, so we have 33 years of profitable growth. We have gone through the Asia financial crisis as well as the global financial crisis. Okay, so we have about the 32.8% of CAGR, which is a compound annual growth rate. Okay, so you can see the graph, right? We has always been profitable. In 2015, there's a slight drop of profits. It's because of the US depreciation rate. And the growth has always been exponential. Okay, also in 2020, we also, I'm sure that all semiconductor firms are not affected by the crisis. Yeah. Okay, so these are some of the highlights of our history. So in 1997, we have our world first single chip fast Ethernet IC. So that's our very own product, which we gave to the world. And then in 2005, we moved to the current headquarters, which I showed you all later just now. So in 2014, we exceeded the 1 billion mark of revenue, and then 2019 is 2 billion. So you can see the exponential growth. Okay, for this is the ranking for the top 10 fabless and IC companies. So you can see some of the big companies like Broadcom and MediaTek, they are much bigger than us, but because each of us have our own market share, so all of us are quite profitable. And you also can see that our year-on-year increase is 18.8%, which is one of the most amongst these top 10 companies. Okay, so we have various worldwide locations in the world. So in US, we have San Jose and Irvine, and the main bulk in Asia. So we have Korea, Japan, Suzhou, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Singapore. So Singapore is actually our third newest subsidiary. So we opened Vietnam in 2018 and we opened Malaysia last year. Okay, so we are actually a fabless company. So we get our supplies from mask houses and foundries. So we design these ICs. And then after that, we'll do our own in-house testing. Then we'll sell them to our customers like ODM and brand customers. Okay, so you can see our solutions in your everyday life, such as your, let's say in the house, in your living, right? You can see them in your fridge, your TV, your aircon, your vacuum, or even your PC, headset, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all this. Yeah, so if you see the orange colored highlighted ones, they're actually our very own product before we other people start to improvise. Yeah. Okay, so we don't really hold stock keeping units. We only have 2,000 plus SKUs, and our monthly IC shipment is about 200 million plus. Okay, so our people is actually our asset. It's very important. That's why we value them as our asset to the company. So we have about 5.4K employees. So 85% of them is actually doing R&D. So they are all the engineers. And 77% of these engineers have masters and PhD. So meaning to say we actually attract the top talents in the world. Okay, so in the patents, right, we have about 6,831 to date. So if you count that per week, right, it's actually 3 patents per week. So we actually rank number 6. Okay, so this is our tagline, is to connect things and connect humans and machines and connecting a smarter world. Okay, so what does it mean by connected world? So you can see it in the personal, which means like your computer, your Bluetooth, your phones, and then connected home and connected car, and then also smart city, as well as our infrastructure. Yeah. Okay, we also win awards every year. And the main award that we won is in the Computex Taipei. So we don't really see them in Singapore, but we always get the news. Okay, going on to Singapore side, we are actually set up in June 2014. So it's been about 6 years for now. And we aim to attract the top talents in software design and digital IC design. Okay, this is our address. It's actually in the strategy, which is International Business Park. It's our nearest MRT is in Jurong East. So we actually started with the unit 06 and 07. And then we opened up unit 10. And then we opened up unit 14 and 15 just 1 year ago. So we are trying to get more and more employees and we are hiring all year round. Okay, so for our events, right, we actually have 3 big events in Realtek Singapore. First is actually our Family Day. Our Family Day is actually our Realtek anniversary. So you can see we will bring them to have fun with their family. You can invite your family along. In this event, we actually bring them to USS. So we had a buffet at Harrow Cafe and also a family day at USS. Okay, next is actually the team building event. So this is the most hype event because most of us, the R&D engineers, are always sitting in front of the computer. So when you bring them to these events, right, there'll be more hype and exciting for them. Yeah, you see the middle picture, everyone is cheering together. Okay, next is actually our D&D, which is our annual dinner. Normally it's held during the Chinese New Year period. So you also do the Lo Hei, as you can see on the top right. And then we also have performances which are done by all our own employees. So normally before the events, right, they always come together and practice in the meetings rooms. Okay, last but not least is your own individual team events. So the company also sponsor the teams to go out to have some events to motivate you guys during work lah. Okay, that's all on my side. Now I'll invite my colleague Ted, which has been close to 6 years ever since Robotics Singapore started. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ted. I joined the Robotics Singapore from 2014. Now actually it's almost 7 years. And I start from Robotics Singapore start from 2 software teams, SD1 and SD2. Then gradually it grew to IC, digital verification, and more teams. Our team is one of the largest team, and our focus is on the AP router feature development and the Wi-Fi protocol development. Now I'll share you a little bit about what it is like to work in Realtek and what's our daily life. Actually, for our teams are very young. The majority are at their 20+ years old, and we've been always welcoming new fresh grads. Most of our talent come from top universities, and you'd feel challenged and passionate about the work you do in Realtek. Secondly, we also value teamwork. Our slogan is trust in people. As Cheng Yan just said, we don't do micromanagement, so we give the liberal to individuals to work on the project. And when you need help, you can always consult with other colleagues, whether it's in Taiwan or it's in Suzhou. And you also get the chance to work with different teams in other locations worldwide and collaborate on many projects. And our colleagues are also come from different backgrounds. They come from different countries. They can contribute different perspectives to our companies. And this slide showed some of the past projects our Singapore software team one did during the past few years. Currently, we are working on the Wi-Fi 6, which is the 802.11ax protocol. This will, and also we have worked on Easy Mesh, TDM, and Smart Roaming, Central. And actually, for our main job is we will study about new specifications and design and implement to code. And our team will be focusing on both of the user space and also the driver code development. And we will also help our customers to put all these new technologies into applications to help their product to be more attractive and more advanced. And on this slide, there are some projects some products we have been developed. As you can see, for this board is we call development board. We sell the Wi-Fi chips and including the CPU also. So most of our customers are ODM. So they are original design manufacturer. They will buy our chips and integrate into their product. As you can see on the top right level, there's a Intel Wi-Fi mesh. Actually, inside this Wi-Fi mesh, all the software and the Wi-Fi chip is provided by Realtek, but the logo is our customers. I'll share with you some of the personal perspectives. That's why I spent so many years in this one company. Actually, first is I think Realtek is one of the few MNC company will set up a R&D center in Singapore. If you are very technical savvy and you will be in the frontier of the innovation and creativity, this is the right place to go to come. And also secondly, I think currently for the wireless world, there will be more and more wireless communication expected. And we are the backbone to support and innovate to a better technology for a better tomorrow. Also, as a professional engineer, Realtek engineers are willing to share and help each other if they have any technical questions. And third, and very importantly, is about the flexible and relaxed working environment. our culture is very friendly and the management is very open-minded and cares about your thoughts and respect your input. Next slide. Actually, yeah, I invite Cheng Yan to talk. No.
Can we go on to the FAQ first? After that, I'll share with you the job description.
Okay, Ken. There's one question from Kumar. Asking what kind of skills you're looking for from master students with degree in material science. What skills need to be developed by the candidates to enter into the semiconductor industry or specifically real tech?
Okay, actually for our real tech, we are so-called fabulous IC design house. For in the semicon industry, we design the Wi-Fi chips. So the majority of the engineer are programmers and also are IC designers. If for material science, I think if you are interested in learning coding or learn programming, you can also join real tech. Yeah.
Okay, so there's another question from Cheng Yi from NUS. What possible roles are the options for people studying like electrical engineering?
Yeah, for electrical engineering, I think most relevant is the IC team. It's the IC design. And also there's a PD team, which is a physical design. It will use Verilog to design the circuit. And yeah, for the software team, as I said, we have 3 software teams. So we are using C or C coding to program our firmware. And also for the user space language, you can use other language as well. So actually there are many different choices of the teams for you to consider.
Okay,
yeah.
And Zuwei from NTU is asking what kind of positions and opportunities can you offer for interns, specifically for mechanical engineering students?
I think currently we didn't accept interns. Sorry about that. No.
No problem. And there's a question from Yu Chong. I'm graduating soon from NTU Electrical and Electronics Engineering, and he is interested in digital IC design roles. So he is asking, is it necessary for digital design roles? Or Yu Chong, can you elaborate your questions? So he wants to know more about the digital IC design roles in real tech, like the roles and responsibilities or any prerequisite to enter this role.
Okay, from what my understanding of the IC design team, what we did is a very bottom level design. It's an IC design, it's a verification, it's a different layer of the electric circuit.
So what criteria do they need to
have? We will show the job criteria currently now.
Okay.
So as you can see, you need to get familiar with the ASIC design, and also it includes coding for you to code different gate level, do the gate level simulations.
Okay, so they can refer to this job description and job requirements.
Sure.
So, okay, Yu Chong is asking if a degree only is not enough. That means like you have to have master level or above.
Yeah, actually for the IC design team, I think most of them are master students. But if you are very interested in this role and you are good at some, you have very big interest, maybe you can try to apply also. We do have bachelor students, bachelor's employees.
Yeah, I would say for this job position, right? There's still a few fresh graduates that we hired, just that they need more mentorship and training when they just come in. Yeah, I would say the degree might not be enough, but you still can come in for training and still be experienced one day. Yeah.
So they can still try lah.
Yeah, still can try.
Okay, and then what kind of opportunities are available for industrial and systems engineers in real tech?
I think that's true. And
So I think it depends on what skills they have, and is there any prerequisite? Is there any role specifically for this industrial and in systems engineering?
I think we don't have so so upper level technology requirements. Normally we hire the programmer and system designer, but we also have another team which is a test team. The test team can accept more backgrounds, I can see.
Okay.
But for system level, actually we didn't do system level integration.
Okay. And then Shen Yi tagged on Yu Chong's questions, like just to check if he has taken some modules focused on IC design in university. Will this be a plus for applying for the job?
Sure, I think, yeah, that would be a plus.
On top of the degree.
It also, yeah, of course, it showed both you are interested and you are eager to adapt to industry as well. It's a big plus, yeah.
So, and I see Towson's question. I think someone has already asked this question, whether there is any internship opportunities in Realtek, and the answer is currently no. They don't hire internship at this moment.
Yeah, we don't at the moment.
Yeah, so I think we have covered most of the questions. May I ask one more question to Ted? So is coding prerequisite to apply for the job?
Actually, no. As you can see, we are welcoming new fresh grads every year, and there are three reasons. Even you're not familiar with coding. First is if you are a faster learner, and if you are a program solver, your background really doesn't matter. Secondly, is we will provide trainings, and we will give you time to pick it up if you are not familiar with programming. The third is also we have different types of job. So it's not only about coding as well. Okay. So we will find the right job for the right person.
Understand. And Chen Yan, just now you have flashed the QR code, and Sunny from SUSS is interested in the WhatsApp group QR code.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Maybe you can introduce a bit about this.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the first is my personal QR code for WeChat. The second is WhatsApp QR code. If you have any questions, maybe you can drop me a message as well.
Also, it's your personal account.
Yeah, I guess.
So nice of you. So it's his own personal account. So any one of you, if you have questions for Ted, you can WhatsApp him or WeChat him. Meanwhile, you can also go to Realtek's virtual booth page on the Electronics Day to drop your question for them, and they will come back to you very soon. Okay, any more questions? If not now, maybe let us go to the last but not least company, Xilinx. And thank you, Ted and Chen Yan, for your sharing. So we now would like to invite David Ferguson, Vice President and Site Leader for Xilinx Singapore, to give us a presentation. Over to you, David.
Thank you very much, Jillian. Just let me get this loaded up. Oops, sorry. Okay. So good afternoon to everybody on the call. I'm really actually kind of jealous of you. You're at the very start of what's going to be a fantastic and exciting career for many, many of you. And as you can tell, I'm maybe a little more than halfway through mine. So my name is David Ferguson. I'm the site director and here in Singapore and the VP for production operations. And I'm going to start out with a little story. I grew up in Canada, and icebergs are absolutely beautiful. And you can see them from about April to June or July, and they float off in the ocean off the coast, and they move very, very slowly. But in fact, as beautiful as they are, they're really, really deadly. And for many hundred years, they really were a barrier to transportation and commerce. Ships that were taking goods from, the northern part of North America to the northern part of Europe would have to sail different routes. They'd have to go a lot slower. They'd have to really be careful. And many ships actually crashed into them and lives were lost. So this isn't really a story about the icebergs, though. This is a story about a ship called the Californian. And the Californian was sailing off in the North Atlantic on April 14th, 1912. And it stopped because it was trapped in a whole bunch of ice. And it had a radio on board, and it had a radio operator. And the radio operator went on and said, there's ice, be careful, and we're stopping for the night. And he turned off the radio and went to bed. A few miles away, the Titanic struck ice and it sunk. And the Titanic sent out distress calls till about midnight. While the Californian was only a few miles away, the radio had been turned off and the operator had gone to sleep. The radio at the time was more of a luxury of the rich. It wasn't something that was factored that heavily in for safety. Anyway, roll forward a few months and the Radio Wireless Ship Act gets amended and you have a boom in radio like you've never seen before. And it continues on today with 5G. It's really been something that there's an inflection point where radio is seen as more than just a luxury for the rich. It's seen as something for everyone, right? And really improving commerce, improving safety, and improving the way data gets moved around. The same thing happened with airbags in cars. None of you on the call are young enough to have been in a car that didn't have an airbag, but I remember as a kid, an airbag was sold as an option in Cadillacs. In big fancy cars, you could get an airbag. Well, at one point, it just became mandatory. There's about 1.3 million fatalities in the world these days a year, and 9 in 10 are involving human error. So government mandates do actually increase adoption, and they help drive safety. So we can't predict the exact future, but we have some idea that autonomous driving is gonna almost fully replace human drivers. We had a conversation at work the other day. Has the last person to own a driver's license already been born? It's a thinker. It's interesting because the rate at which autonomous systems are taking over the function of the vehicle is really accelerating. And all this to say that technology really only goes forward. We rarely go backwards. We can't predict exactly 5 years or 10 years what's going to be the winning technology. But the backbone of all these technologies is semiconductors. So, there's ups and downs in all industries, and semiconductors are not immune to those ups and downs. So there was a strong downturn in 2008. There was a strong downturn after sort of 2000. There was this whole 2000 .com bubble, and but the one thing you can say, it's a very long-term trend with 9% CAGR, right? Compound annual growth rate. And it's very diversified in terms of it's not just computers. In fact, there's a lot in consumer items. There's a lot in automotive. There's a lot in industrial. And these market segments are very consistent in terms of their demand. Actually, the one exception there is automotive. Automotive demand is just absolutely through the roof. There's a thing going on with a shortage right now. It's called sort of Armageddon with chips. But basically, if any of you are thinking you're going to get a good price on a new iPhone or a good price on a graphics card, good luck. It's there really is quite a shortage in industry because guess what happens when we have COVID and everybody stays home, right? It's no longer one computer per household. It becomes one computer per person, Right? It's no longer, 2 hours of Netflix a day. It's now 4 and 5 hours of Netflix a day, right? And all that infrastructure that is needed to enable those devices, Xilinx participates very heavily in. So on a little bit about Xilinx. So this side. So we just had our 37th birthday, and I'll explain why that's very meaningful in a little bit. But we're founded in 1984. We did about 3.16 billion in revenue. We have about 4,500 employees worldwide, 60,000 customers, 60,000, and about 4,400 patents. I often tell my family that Xilinx is the biggest company in the most diverse range of product portfolio that you haven't heard of. Our name is not known in the sort of consumer world, even though we are in many consumer systems, even though we're in many industrial systems. We're really in the heart of those systems. And so system designers know us and they're our customers, but oftentimes the consumer at the end doesn't know what's inside. Okay. Why is it important that we celebrated our 37th anniversary? Well, we actually pioneered the fabless business model. Everybody now takes this model for granted. But in 1984, this gentleman here, Bernie von der Schmidt, had a relationship with the Seiko foundry in Japan. And he said, we're not big enough to invest in all this equipment, and you're too big to have it not run all the time, right? And so he says, why don't you sell some of your excess capacity to me? And this became what's known as the fabless business model. And it is pretty much the standard for most companies today. And Ross Freeman was the engineer with the idea to make a chip that you could program, and it changed the hardware functionality. And he's the inventor of the FPGA. He's in the National Inventors Hall of Fame in the US, right next to Robert Noyce, who got the Nobel Prize for the integrated circuit. So we're very proud of our founders. Not only did they found a product category, not only did they found a way of doing business, they also founded a type of company. They wanted to have a company where people came first. And the most valued asset was the people in the company and their relationships. So these are the core values that we have: excellence, teamwork, and accountability. When I interview people, we're gonna hire them, bring them in for the second or third round. Oftentimes, an engineer will say, what do you expect of me? What do you expect of me? I don't have experience exactly that you're looking for. What do you expect? And this is my answer. I say, I expect excellence. We're only going to stay world class if we expect it from each other. I expect teamwork. We're only going to enjoy our work if we have good teamwork. And I expect accountability. We're only really going to be able to meet our customer commitments and our supplier engagement commitments if we're accountable to each other. So that's my answer. And yeah, if you like the answer on what to expect, you will have to come check us out. So what else on Xilinx? Well, this is where our customers are innovators, all these different categories. We have such a wide-ranging product portfolio that parts sell from low single dollars to many thousands of dollars. When a part is going into outer space, it needs to have really good reliability. When a part is going into automotive, it needs to have really good quality. Just on that one, I liked what Howard had presented on the car. You saw a similar picture of a car, and I think Howard's parts are probably some of these sensors out here, and our part is the part on the dashboard or under the hood that fuses all the sensors together. So it takes the data from the LiDAR, it takes the data from the cameras, it takes the data from any other sensors. And it can make very, very fast real-time decisions on, is that a person or is that a traffic cone? And then it can make a decision to stop the car or to steer away or continue straight. And latency, the time it takes from when that data comes in to when you need a decision matters a lot, right? If you're going 90 kilometers an hour, 0.1, 0.2 seconds can be a couple meters. So it matters a lot. And there's really nothing more thrilling than knowing your parts are going into outer space and helping to, explore the edges of the universe. So we're very pleased that our product is heavily used there. Okay. This is a lofty mission statement. We acknowledge that. Building the adaptable, intelligent world, but it is what we aim to do. Intelligent, meaning efficient. Right? What's the smartest way to compute the human genome? What's the fastest way you can compute that human genome? We hold the world record in that. It went from 24 hours to about 30 minutes with our product. And that's really important because for critically ill kids or newborns, the faster you have that full sequence, the sooner you can have therapy or options. The faster you can compute that sequence, the cheaper you can compute that sequence. The more kids, the more critically ill newborns you can provide this for. So we like that we have intelligent computing and adaptable because that problem changes in time, right? The problems of the future, we don't entirely know, right? But we build product that will be able to intelligently compute solutions for them. So it's a lofty mission statement, but and we're humble to say it, but we do believe this is our mission. So what do we do in Singapore? Just about everything. We are Center for Supply Chain Production Quality. We have a very big new product introduction and product engineering hub. We have a world-class silicon design team for SerDes, world-class, and other IP development. Our Chief Technology Office was established here in 2017. We have business operations, finance, sales, board operations. You may have friends that are studying finance. Send them our way. We also hire all categories of employees. And we're right now about 500 employees and growing. We're about 50-50 gender balance in the building, more than 10 nationalities represented, and more than 7 years is the median experience. So Xilinx employees tend to like working at Xilinx. We're in Changi Business Park. We're on 3 MRT lines. And I don't say that lightly, that Xilinx employees tend to enjoy working at Xilinx. We've had a number of employees who decided, I want to go try somewhere else. And many employees, we call them rebounders, they come back. They're like, hey, actually, I really miss you guys. Can I come back? So we say, sure, come on back. These are our current intern openings. And Adeline will be very happy to help with if you have any questions. So really a broad category of things we're looking for. And we also have openings for full-time positions. So the contract ones are here too. And you can see sort of in Singapore, I think there's about 16 that are currently open. They're opening all the time. We're just setting budget for our FY22, which will be from April 1st till March 31st. And we're just sort of fixing budgets there. So there are likely to be a few more positions that show up here in the coming month or so. Okay. And everybody gets a good screenshot of what they want. Okay, good. We want you. Okay. This is Rosie the Riveter. iconic World War II recruitment campaign. So they wanted women to go work in the factories. They wanted the manpower to increase, and definitely that's what we want to do. So what is it like to work at Zionix? Right? It's fun. I mean, I don't know how many pictures I had to go through to try to find one where everybody wasn't genuinely smiling. It's hard. You have to look for it. But we have a rec committee. We have a group that goes running and organizes big runs. We have a really active XAP Women in Technology group. We have a really active XAP Gives group. They focus on sort of community charity engagement. And then, just all kinds of, futsal, bowling nights, Heartstrings charity walk, all kinds of stuff. It's also interesting. It's a fun place because you get to meet really interesting people. I don't know if this is Minister Chan, and just around the corner from here, they opened an innovation center about a week and a half ago. And it's to really build hardware platforms that allow people to run their software algorithms and stuff. And so I'm holding this thing. It's a smart social distancing AI application where it could monitor how many unique faces came into a room and how long each one stayed. And I think they could even see how many breaths, like how many, is somebody breathing hard or not? It was really very cool, but you get to meet really amazing people working in semiconductors. And then these are just pictures around our office, different events going on. This is actually over in San Jose. Sometimes people travel over to the US for meetings or workshops or things like that. Sometimes we travel to Taiwan. Okay, and then this is me the day before I started at Zionix. And I came across this picture and I just want to know what happened to my hair. So much good hair. What happened? 26 short years and all of a sudden I lost all my hair. But I never on this day did I think I would be sitting here on this day, right? I didn't have a 26-year plan. I think I had a 2-year plan. But after 26 years, I'm very happy to share that, so I've worked now on 3 continents. I've had 9 different job titles. Titles don't mean much. Let me tell you why. You can have a really, really cool job title and a really, really boring job. And you can have a really boring job title and a really exciting, dynamic job. Don't get hung up on I hired a guy once and he really wanted the word design in his title. And I was like, okay, we'll call you a design characterization engineer, or we'll put it in, but don't get fixated on the title. Get fixated on the work. Is the work interesting? Are you learning, right? And I've been lucky to have the company revenue grow by 6x. I say I helped. I don't know how much I helped. I mean, I didn't hurt it, but I'm not in sales. So, but for having lost my hair, most of it, I did gain a little bit of insight and a little bit of advice. And I'm reluctant to give advice because I have a hard time taking it myself. I think it's easy to say things. It's much harder to practice them. So I'm going to share this advice with you, and then I'm going to also let you know what is hard to follow. So I have 8 small bits because 8's a lucky number, and we're right at Chinese New Year. 1, be a great communicator. My boss once told me, actually he was talking to a customer and he was introducing me, and he goes, yeah, David's really smart, but you'd never know. You'd never know it. And I was kind of like, thanks, boss. Yes, that's absolutely right. And then when the customer went away, I said, what's that about? And he goes, no, it's a compliment. You have a really good way of taking a very complex problem and explaining it so that everybody can understand. You can explain it to marketing, what the limiting function is. You can explain it to sales why we can't, offer a certain feature without saying, sort of the dismissive stuff like, oh, I would tell you why we can't do it, but you wouldn't understand. So be a great communicator. Learn how to talk at different levels and listen. Listen if someone really understands or didn't. And if they didn't, you can try and explain it a bit of another way. So take risks and responsibility appropriately. Have confidence. Avoid arrogance. You will, I hope, one day, when you're out in the world, be the most experienced person, have the most knowledge on something, be in a position to make a decision, right? Have confidence in your decision, but avoid arrogance about it. Get along with your boss or find a new boss. It's like, these girlfriends and boyfriends that keep fighting with each other. I just don't understand it. It's like you're in a relationship with your boss for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Figure out how to get along or put your energy towards finding a new one. Learn always. The only way to be fully resilient in your career is to always be a lifelong learner, to keep picking up new skills. When opportunity knocks, answer yes. They don't come around very often. Your boss might offer you an opportunity to lead a project. If you turn them down, they are unlikely to come back to you with another project that you'll like better. So when the opportunity comes, say yes. Be patient and stay keen. And then the very last one, and you got to trust me on this, come check out Zionix, okay? I think we're a company that really puts people first, and we really value our people. So I hope you feel me out there. Okay.
Thank you.
And with that, that's my last slide. Then I was on to Q&A.
Thank you, David. So before the questions come in, maybe can I invite you to share the biggest achievement that you think you have made in Zionix as a leader in Zionix?
Oh, the biggest achievement.
And any tips? You have shared many tips, right? What's the ultimate tips for our students here when they come to an interview by you?
Okay, sure. I think, I've had the pleasure to work with some really, really smart people, like people much smarter than me. So, I'm lucky I got my name on a few patents, largely because they were generous enough to put my name on it, right? But I think what I'm most proud to say is that I work at Zionix. I think working at Zionix for so long, it's an amazing company. It's not a perfect company, but we have a people-first culture, and we actually like working together. We disagree often, don't get me wrong. My boss, when he comes over to Singapore, we disagree, but we like each other, we respect each other, and I think we have a very healthy dynamic in the company for all of that.
That's where the ideas come out, right?
That's right. In the disagreement, spill out the ideas. That's right.
Yeah. And what's the ultimate tips that you have for our students here?
So I would, success comes from a lot of places: hard work, opportunity, seeing problems early on, but really learning to communicate, even when it's communicating frustration or disagreement, to technical and to non-technical audiences will really help you build partnerships, build trust, and advance your careers. And even in the interview, it's, if somebody asks you a question and you have no idea, it's okay to say, I have no idea, but I bet I could learn.
Yeah, that's very useful. And how's the company culture in Zionix?
Company culture is very healthy and very strong. We had our Founders Day week last week, and we had a couple fireside chats with executives and shared stories from years ago. But there's a lot of long-time Xilinx employees. So that sort of acts as a continuity on company culture. So
I see. So seems they are very clear of your presentation. They don't have any questions as of now, but never mind. They can feel free to go to the Xilinx virtual booth page to drop their questions. And I'm sure Xilinx will get back to them after they have dropped their questions there. So thank you, David. Thank you for your presentation. We have a question from Brandon. Okay, are there employees who stay in the west of Singapore?
yes, there are.
Well,
They tend to take well these days everybody's coming into the office just 1 day a week or 2 days a week, most people. But the folks from the west, they take shuttle buses. It's actually not too bad. I think it's $5 or $6, and yeah, pretty good service. I realize we are in the east.
and another question from Sheng Yi. FPGA ASIC question. Since I remember a lecturer mentioning this point, have you seen FPGAs take on ASIC characteristics? Do you see it as a threat, or is it just an additional product avenue to explore? Since Xilinx strong point is the FPGA.
Yeah, so we have been putting out products that do have a lot of ASIC blocks. Product portfolio over the last 10 years has pulled in a lot of ASIC type IP. And that continues to be the case. But the programmability and the flexibility that you can get from the FPGA portion keeps it a very, very attractive product for our customers, especially where standards evolve, right? So 5G is going to roll out in multiple waves. There's going to be sort of wave one is kind of gone. Wave two is going to hit us maybe in a year or so. There will be wave 3 in 2023. And that flexibility really helps us participate very, very heavily in that 5G rollout.
See. And another question, is there any openings on the supply chain domain?
Sure. Yeah. Have a look. I think so. I think we're always kind of having, there's always some growth happening. We're always trying to do things more efficiently, but we also, if there's no opening today, look back in a month or 2 months. So.
Okay, and someone is interested to know more about the application domains of the IP design done in Singapore by Xilinx. Can you share?
Sorry?
The application domains of IP design done in Singapore.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually get back to you on that. So we have reorganized some of our IP designs. We went to BUs about 1.5 years ago, business units, and so some IP went to different BUs. We're always coming out with new IP, so I'll have to look and get back to you. Apologies.
Sure. Just we can ask them to drop a question in Xilinx virtual booth page and let you get back to them. And maybe we take
my own advice there. I said I didn't know.
If you need more questions, no problem. In a fabless company, what kind of role played by engineers apart from mechanical or electrical and electronics?
Well, all kinds. So design, verification, validation, characterization, test program development, all product engineering, test engineering, reliability engineering, quality engineering, all kinds.
A wide range, right?
Yeah. Yield engineers.
I see. So it covers a broad range.
So we have some resident engineers here that work with our suppliers to make sure, our yields are meeting target, our KPIs are always met. And, we have to design the product up front and then manufacture. So. And
as an engineering in Xilinx, actually, they got different opportunities to touch on different perspectives, right? And someone asked about the Xilinx research labs. Would you be able to share the kind of work done there?
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I'll try. It's a lot in advanced networking, sort of research into advanced smart NICs, or research into different areas that are in sort of that advanced networking world, including the data center. So, but they're always taking on new projects, and then they sort of, the beauty of research labs is you sort of work on something and you get it to a point and you're like, okay, is there a business case on this, or do we shelve it? And then they take the next one. So not everything in the research lab turns into a product. Actually, more often than not, it doesn't turn into a product. It just gets invented, developed, looked at, and then there's a decision. Okay, does it make sense to productize, or does it make sense to just hold on to the patent and put that project on the shelf? So
Understand. So I think that's all the questions for you at this moment.
okay.
Thank you for your time for the presentation and the Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much, Jillian. Thanks to the others as well. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. So that's all the presentations from the 3 companies for today. So before you leave, we invite all of you to visit our job portal, ssia.org.sg/jobs. So you can see the latest trends in the industry, our Electronics Day 2021 microsite, and also the latest job openings and the stories about the industry. And I will invite all of you to join this social media contest with great prizes. It is also on our microsite of the Electronics Industry Day. So you can answer all these questions on the webpage and stand a chance to win Apple Watch, AirPods, and the MacBook Pro. So that's all for today's presentation. And may I invite all our speakers to turn online to take a group picture. And once again, thank you for participating our career talk today. We hope to see you all in our next event. Thank you. Now let us take a group picture. Stephanie, is your camera ready? So with you?
Yes, I put one ready.
Howard.
Howard,
Howard is here.
David,
Ted.
and Chen Ye. Ted is not around, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Care.
Thanks for speaking. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.